Remember those faces soaked in blood, tears and glory in Braveheart. The movie ignited the fire of courage and the desire for freedom in viewers. But now prepare yourself for a shock. 30 years later, some people have lost everything. Some people become rich beyond their wildest dreams. Others endure tragedies that will leave you speechless. Here's the cast of Braveheart from 1995. And today you can hardly recognize them. Patrick McGoohan as King Edward I. At 67. Patrick McGoohan delivered a masterful performance in Braveheart 1995 as the spine-chilling villain King Edward. Or Longshanks. With his cold eyes and undeniable ruthlessness, McGoohan portrayed the scheming king so vividly that he became a symbol of evil on screen. This role earned him recognition as one of the greatest villains in cinema history, leaving a lasting mark on his career. Patrick Joseph McGoohan was born on March 19, 1928 in Queens, New York, USA. However, behind the spotlight, he experienced a personal tragedy that few people could see, which was isolation and rejection of life in Hollywood. Because of his strict Catholic beliefs, he flatly turned down many opportunities for global stardom, including the role of James Bond, because he would not perform sex scenes. That rigidity made him an unpredictable artist, but also alienated him from the mainstream. Friends and colleagues gradually drifted away, and McGoohan withdrew, living a reclusive life and rarely appearing in public. Patrick McGoohan died on January 13, 2009, at the age of 80 of heart disease and old age. He left behind an estimated net worth of $10 million, mostly from acting and writing. McGoohan died quietly, but his chilling portrayal of Longshanks in Braveheart and his legacy as an artist who dared to challenge convention will live on, leaving the audience with both admiration and regret. Mel Gibson as William Wallace. At 39. Mel Gibson not only played William Wallace, the Scottish hero who rebelled against English rule, but also directed the 1995 film Braveheart. That explosive performance, along with his insight behind the camera, earned him 5 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. It was that moment that transformed him from an action star into a true cinematic legend, cementing his place in Hollywood history. Mel Gerard Gibson was born on January 3, 1956, in Peekskill, New York, USA. But behind that aura lay a darkness that shocked the world, a relentless battle with alcoholism and uncontrollable rage. In 2006, when he was arrested for drunk driving, he made shocking anti-Semitic comments that turned the world against him. That same year, his 26-year marriage to Robin Moore fell apart in an acrimonious divorce, ending in one of the most expensive in Hollywood history, with child custody battles and allegations of domestic violence. It was a personal tragedy that transformed him from a silver screen hero into a symbol of his downfall, leaving audiences both sympathetic and disappointed. More than 2 decades later, those ghosts have never really left, but Gibson remains steadfast. As of 2025, at age 69, he is still acting and directing, though his career is no longer as brilliant as before, with an estimated fortune of $125 billion. Mainly from movies and real estate, Gibson remains one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. But above all, his image today is not only that of a cinematic legend, but also a man with life scars, a living testament to the fragile line between glory and tragedy. Brian Cox as Argyle Wallace. Brian Cox played Argyle Wallace, the uncle who imparted wisdom, protection, and guidance to William Wallace in Braveheart, 1995, when Cox was 49. For him, the role was a milestone in a career that spanned from British stage to Hollywood screen, proving that he could make even a supporting role unforgettable. Brian Dennis Cox was born on June 1, 1946, in Dundee, Scotland. His childhood was a dark tragedy. His father committed suicide when Cox was 8 years old. His mother suffered from mental illness, and his brother died of illness. These lingering losses shaped a lonely child growing up, with no one to bear the pain for him. Then in the 1980s, he fell into heavy drinking, nearly losing both his career and his reputation. Those shadows gave his performances a raw authenticity, a sense of pain that never quite disappeared. By 2025, Brian Cox was 79 and still acting, starring in major projects including Succession, for which he won an Emmy. He often courted controversy with his blunt statements, but that also made him different. With an estimated fortune of $15 million largely from film and theater, Cox is today a living, compelling, respected, and unforgettable figure. James Cosmo as Campbell. At the age of 47, James Cosmo played Campbell in Braveheart 1995, a loyal Scottish warrior who symbolized fatherhood and unyielding strength. The character not only added depth to the story, but also cemented Cosmo's reputation as a historical actor, and he has since become a familiar face to audiences who love epic films. James Ronald Gordon. Cosmo was born on May 24, 1948, in Clydebank, Scotland. But behind his tough on-screen persona, his childhood was extremely harsh. His father was an unknown actor. The family lived in poverty, forcing Cosmo to do many manual jobs to make ends meet. Just as his career began to take off, tragedy struck. During the filming of Troy 2004, he suffered a serious fall from a horse, breaking his ribs and requiring a lengthy recovery. Those months of immobility became a terrifying ordeal, forcing him to confront the possibility that his career might be over. These experiences brought a deep sadness to Cosmo's performance that the audience could feel. As of 2025, James Cosmo is 77 years old and still active in film and television, most notably as Jeor Mormont in Game of Thrones. He lives a simple life, stays out of the spotlight, and openly expresses his political views, such as opposing Brexit. With an estimated net worth of $5 million, mostly from historical films and television, Cosmo is a symbol of resilience, a real-life warrior who overcame poverty and accidents to continue to survive on screen. Brendan Gleeson, Chongvai Hamish Campbell. In 1995, Brendan Gleeson was 40 when he appeared in Braveheart as Hamish Campbell, William Wallace's loyal and powerful friend. His character was both humorous and a warm support in the midst of a fierce battlefield, creating an emotional balance for the film. With this role, Gleeson officially attracted the attention of Hollywood, opening a brilliant journey for a man who was once just a teacher. Brendan Gleeson was born on March 29, 1955, in Dublin, Ireland. However, his life journey has also brought with it deep scars. In 2017 in Ireland, he was involved in a serious car accident, suffering multiple fractures and nearly losing his life. Gleeson's career seemed on the brink of collapse, but after months of recovery, he returned to the set a survivor. Along with that family, tragedy struck. His marriage of more than 30 years to Mary Weldon quietly ended in 2018, forcing him to confront a grief no one could share. A funny man on screen, he had a heavy heart behind the scenes. In 2025, at the age of 70, Brendan Gleeson continued his acting career, leaving a lasting impression with his heavy roles in Bruges and The Banshees of Inisharan. He lived alone with his 4 sons, 2 of whom also pursued acting careers. With an estimated net worth of $8 million, Gleeson remains one of the most prominent figures in Irish cinema, although the shadow of personal loss has never left him. Alan Armstrong as Lord Mornay. In 1995, Alan Armstrong appeared in Braveheart at the age of 49 as Lord Mornay, a scheming and treacherous Scottish aristocrat. His character didn't get much screen time, but his coldness and treachery resonated with audiences, becoming a key link in the chain of betrayals William Wallace faced. For Armstrong, the role marked a step forward that would bring him greater international recognition. Beyond the British stage, Alan Armstrong was born on July 17, 1946, in Anfield Plain County, Durham, England. The most tragic event in his life occurred in 2010, when one of his 3 sons died of a serious illness. The loss tore Armstrong's heart apart, leaving a wound that would never heal. a father who believed he could protect his son with love and a lifetime of experience was powerless to watch his son slowly fade away. After the funeral, Armstrong fell into a deep depression, often thinking about leaving the stage and the spotlight and sinking into obscurity. He once admitted that there were nights when he sat alone in his room flipping through old scripts, tears streaming down his face. An artist who had devoted more than half a century to his art, he became a man who lived each day with the haunting pain of loss, trying not to collapse in the face of family tragedy. By 2025, Armstrong was 79 years old, still living in England with his wife Susan Ellen, whom he married in 1971. Although he stayed away from Hollywood, he continued to act in television and on stage, most famously in the new Tricks series, with an estimated net worth of $3 million, mostly from British television. Armstrong is considered one of the most enduring veteran actors despite never quite overcoming the pain of losing his family. Katherine McCormack Trungvi Murren McClana. At just 23 years old, Katherine McCormack was cast as Murren in Braveheart 1995. Her character, William Wallace's beloved wife, only appears in the films. Prologue. But Murren's death is the emotional catalyst that sets the story in motion. The role brought McCormack global fame and opened the door to an international film and stage career. Katherine McCormack was born on April 3, 1972 in Epsom, Surrey, England. Behind the glamour, she went through a dark period when she became involved in a scandalous affair with director Ron Frick in 1998. This noisy breakup made her the center of tabloids, damaged her career, and pushed her into a personal crisis. Then when she participated in the film 28 weeks later. In 2007, she fell into depression due to the pressure of the role and the critical reception as a young actress once praised as the muse of Braveheart in real life. She suffered a series of shocks in love and career. As of 2025, Katherine McCormack, now 53, is still involved in the arts but has chosen a private life in England, married to Joseph Prodar since 2010. And with one child, she lives quietly away from the Hollywood spotlight. Her net worth is estimated at $2 million, mainly from film and stage work. McCormack today is proof that it is possible to bounce back from scandal, choosing peace over fame, even when the scars of the past remain. Sophie Marceau as Princess Isabel. At just 29 years old, Sophie Marceau captivated international audiences with her portrayal of Princess Isabel in the 1995 film Braveheart. Her intelligent, charming, and compassionate character provided a romantic thread that balanced brutality and tenderness. The role catapulted Marceau from a French star to a global cinema icon, Sophie Danielle. Sylvie Maupoux was born on November 17, 1966, in Paris, France. Following the huge success of Braveheart, her personal life fell apart in devastating fashion. Her long-term relationship with much older director Andrzej Zabowski ended in 1996 in acrimony amid allegations of violence and emotional abuse. She had a child with him, but the breakup left an indelible scar on the soul of a woman who was constantly scrutinized by the world behind the stunning beauty. Marceau suffered betrayal and public judgment, a tragedy that only she could fully feel. In 2025, Sophie Marceau is 58 years old and still dedicated to cinema, although focusing more on directing and writing. She moved between France and the United States, maintaining her independence while openly fighting ageism, refusing plastic surgery to cling to fame. With an estimated net worth of $20 million, much of it from international and French cinema, Marceau remains a testament to the strength and resilience that can be found in the wake of scandal and emotional breakdown. Sean Lawlor as Malcolm Wallace. In 1995, Sean Lawlor played Malcolm Wallace, the brave father of William Wallace in the film Braveheart, at the age of 41. Although he only appears briefly in the opening minutes of the film, his character creates an emotional foundation, instilling in the audience the image of a father willing to sacrifice everything so that his son can continue his dream of freedom. This role has ensured that Lawlor will be remembered as an important part of this cinematic history. Sean Lawlor was born around 1954 in Dublin, Ireland. His life was a constant battle with alcohol. From an early age, strong drink became his companion and enemy, destroying his happiness and career. His drunkenness led to numerous arrests and eventually ruined his first marriage. A car accident in 2001 was a heavy blow, severely injuring his legs and almost losing the ability to act. Once an actor chosen to transform into the image of a strong father in real life, he became a lost, lonely person in a foreign land without wife and children, only left with lingering pain, his body gradually exhausted. On January 20th, 2009, Sean Lawlor suddenly passed away from a heart attack at the age of 55. His reckless lifestyle, alcohol smoking, and years of solitude are believed to have contributed to his early death. His net worth is estimated at $1 million, mostly from small screen roles. Angus Macfadyen chung vai Robert the Bruce. When Angus Macfadyen was 32, he made his mark in Braveheart 1995, playing Robert the Bruce, a Scottish leader torn between honor and betrayal. His character was key to the film, bringing a layer of inner conflict that made the story not just about the battles on the battlefield, but also about the struggles within. The role brought Macfadyen closer to fame, opening the doors to Hollywood for him. Angus Macfadyen was born on September 21, 1963 in Glasgow, Scotland. After the huge success of Braveheart, he fell into an unexpected obscurity. The pressure of portraying such a historical figure, combined with the relentless expectations of Hollywood, took a toll on him. Years of depression caused Macfadyen to withdraw, turning down valuable opportunities and almost disappearing from the screen just as his career was on the rise. There were periods when he cut off contact with friends, living a secluded life, plagued by anxiety. Once praised talent, he eventually became a tragic example of how the glare of fame can sometimes be a fire that burns the artist's soul. As of 2025, Angus Macfadyen, 61, lives quietly in England, occasionally returning to film and stage. Although he reprised his role as Robert the Bruce in the 2019 film of the same name, his career has yet to regain the momentum of Braveheart. His net worth is estimated at $4 million, mostly from film and stage. He remains a testament to the fragility between glory and failure, a talented artist bound by inner darkness.